Welcome to this episode of the Retro Brothers. This time we look at the Spectrum Next. A hands-on review. Is it any good?
Well, so the Spectrum Next.
The Spectrum Next. I will need my glasses for this, even though it's a massive screen.
You're going to have to be serious now with your glasses.
I know, yeah, really serious.
So we're going to show some operating system screenshots and videos. It's coming up anyway, but yeah, so what did you think of it?
Well,
on a whole, because I basically gave this to you and said, right, there you go, you have a... And you, I mean, to be fair, you only had half an hour.
Yeah, I had half an hour to sort of play around with it and just sort of get a feel for it. I mean, overall, I'd say it's a decent piece of kit in terms of its hardware. Keyboard feels quite lifelike in terms of what it used to be like. To the point of, I don't even actually remember the last time I used one of these. Remembering where all the symbols are and all the rest of it and what half the keys do, because I was trying to do Control-C and all that, and obviously that sort of thing doesn't work.
No.
But so in terms of the hardware side, yeah, I'm impressed with it. Keyboard's decent. It's true to nature, I think, in terms of what it is.
I think it's faithful to the original. I think what I said to you, that I was surprised. I think to get a brand new computer in today's, you turn it on, you expect it to be, glistening.
Yeah.
The resolution but you can, you turn it on, it very much is Spectrum. You think, hang on, why is it not clear? Why is it not HD quality? Why is it not this? Why is it? But I think you forget that's not what you've bought.
No.
You've basically got a true representation of a follow-up to the Spectrum 128. Basically.
Yeah, it's as if they brought out a new Spectrum and it didn't go under or anything like that. So yeah, in terms of that, it's a decent machine. More me than anything else, I will obviously forgetting some of the commands, what to do. I know there's some different options and ways of doing stuff, and we'll go on to the games, how you load them, and how sometimes can be a bit different. But I mean, obviously we're playing around. We did the usual 10 CLS, 20 print something, and then 30 go back to 10 and all 20 and all that jazz. So no, I think it felt like I was on a Spectrum. It felt like, someone had just bought a Spectrum and said, right, there you go, have a play around with it. And, I was able to do a few bits and pieces, but it's been a long time. For me, it was more bringing up the symbols, but that was me more than the machine itself.
So you went through the browser, which you got to some of the...
So I went through the browser, so it's like a file manager, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the browser's like a file manager, and
it's basically, and we'll show on the screen anyway. So it's on the next screen to this. Obviously, when you switch it on, this is what you get, and we'll show you that.
Yeah, and it was easy to work around, and I went into some demos. So demos for the people who aren't aware, it's basically like how to show off the hardware you had.
Yeah, so graphical
musical demos, how graphics could go and everything else. No, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I was like looking at some of the old demos and stuff, like old demos as in like the old school looking demos, and they're all new, obviously. And then we played around with some games. We played. We did a few things, didn't we? So we went into tap file and basically, so on the Spectrum you can simulate loading of a cassette, loading of a game. So it basically replays the audio file, or you can just play a snapshot and it'll just load in. So we played the audio file, which again we will show part of that loading coming up now. And then obviously we played the game, which you getting used to so obviously there were different options on the original Spectrum, and this again true to form, and you used the cursor key, Spectrum cursor. Yeah.
Which were, 5, 6, 7, 8, where it's it's different.
So it
took you a while to get used.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the school days emulation of the game. It just felt like playing.
Well, it was. It
is. Yeah.
It's not an emulation.
There's nothing wrong with the sort of the game itself. Yeah, and it is, and obviously this is emulating it's not even emulating, it is a ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
So it just felt like, I was playing around with an old Spectrum, getting used to where the keys were and stuff like that. But once I got into it, it just felt like...
Because it was weird, wasn't it? So the Spectrum, like when you use the cursor control, like it wasn't left, right, up, down. It was left,
not
down, up, right. It was really weird.
But that's the game.
Yeah,
that's how it was. There's nothing wrong with the machine. There's no fault with the machine.
But that's how it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, sort of memory-wise, I was used to that. So it didn't take me long. So, for years, well, it's like you say, you never had a ZX Spectrum.
No.
Used to.
But I remember using yours. So there was like certain things that I thought, oh, okay. So yeah, the loading of the game, you got the usual screech, and then it'd go doom 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 as it was loading down the loading menu and loading screen, as it were. But obviously, what would you say? It took about 8 minutes, 10 minutes for the game back on the cassette.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe not even that.
I think it took that long.
Maybe about 4 minutes.
Yeah, about 4 minutes. I think this was speeded up by times 2.
Seemed quicker.
Yeah, it was slightly quicker.
Yeah, about a minute maybe.
Yeah, but again, do you think that's a gimmick?
No.
Do you think would you do you say if you had lots of tap files, would you load all your games like that, or would you go, do you know, I just want to play this game?
The only thing I would do is I would make sure that I could actually speed up the loading and not have it like it used to be.
Yeah.
Which it didn't feel like it was. But,
no, yeah.
But yeah, no, it felt authentic, which ultimately is a Spectrum game. It is a Spectrum. So I managed to change the bootloader at some point and change it to a different machine. So when this thing boots up, you've got an option, haven't you, to change what it goes into.
Yeah, you can go to different ROMs. So you can go into the Spectrum Next. There's 2 versions of that. You can go straight into the 48K, 128K, and then there's some other variants.
So you can literally emulate the old ones instead of to go into that
instead of going to the next one, which is this one.
So this is Next ZX OS.
Yeah.
Which would have been potentially one of the sort of ways that you probably interact with the newer Spectrum. Obviously, as far as I'm aware, what you see here isn't a representation of what Sinclair.
No, it's not.
We're planning to have, so it's ultimate. But I would like to think that this is where they were going to go in the end.
Yeah, because if you got on the +2, had that loading screen.
Yeah.
So I can't show it here, but if you boot up into +2 mode, it will show a screen, but slightly smaller, and it has about 3-4 options. But it does have that menu bar.
Yeah.
All I've done is extend the menu bar.
So overall, I think it's a decent machine. I think and it's worth the money. We'll go on to the games, but
but obviously the manual. I mean, so you didn't look at the manual, but I've gone through this manual. It's I do like the fact, because obviously it was part of the one of the stretch goals, that you got a manual, printed manual.
I mean, there is a guide. I mean, we found the guide, didn't we?
Yeah.
So yeah, there is actually a guide, so you can actually go
does
through
that
it.
Back to our menus were, manuals were.
Yeah. It just helps out being able to reference it without having to go into a menu, and then finding what you're looking for by going into the guide. You've got the information there.
It's got lots of listings to print out.
We didn't actually get that far, did we? Typing in the listings, but I mean, overall, it's a decent machine. I mean, and what was the cost?
So I think, I can't remember. I think it was about short £400. Because I think on the Kickstart there were 2 options, so I went for the accelerated 2 meg version. I'll pick it up on the screen because I cannot remember at all.
So for me, 400 quid-ish,
yeah,
with manual and everything else that you got with it.
Yeah.
And I'll go on to it in a second, but you've got your connectors at the front for your different joysticks and everything else. You've got the SD card at the side. You just pop and plug and play essentially.
Yeah. So the OS is on the SD card.
Yeah.
But basically, so if you turn it on and pull that out, it'll whinge that there's nothing, that you have to have that. Certainly for the next OS, you have to have that in there.
But it's intuitive enough, and I think it's a decent upgrade to what might have been the next Spectrum, which kind of makes me sad in a way that we never really got to see. Really, because like we got the Atari ST and we got the Amiga.
Yeah.
Obviously, C64 was.
They were 16-bit.
They were 16-bit. This is still 8-bit. But you never know. Maybe there was a, And I'd like to think that some of this is what it would have come up with next. And I would have been quite happy to see some of what we see on this.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a decent machine. So this is the controller. I mean, it's just a generic.
That's just a generic. So I just went on because obviously at the front it's got the generic, obviously joystick ports. It's got USB-C in the back, mini USB-C, so you can actually buy just USB-C controllers or USB controllers. I've just bought an analog.
Yeah. So this is a generic one, and it worked. It worked with every game, didn't it? But we'll kind of go on. We'll kind of go on to one bit. But yeah, it was plug and play. So I'm guessing most joysticks, either a gamepad like this or an actual joystick itself, it'd work quite well. I kind of liked it. I mean, I kind of liked being able to use this instead of the keyboard because I'm getting too old trying to work out all the different keys for different things these days. But no, I liked that, and that works really well. And it's like you say, it's just a generic. Device.
I mean, we didn't try the obviously for the Spectrum Next. You can so it's 3.5 megahertz, and obviously you can put it up to 7, 14, and 28 megahertz, and then obviously play your games. We didn't test that.
No, we didn't test
in
that
this scenario, but I've tried it on Driller. So I have tried Driller on. I mean, Driller. If you remember Driller, the 3D game on the original Spectrum was awful. As in it was very slow, but you put it up to 14 and anything you put it up to 7 megahertz and 14, it makes a difference to the game completely. The speed it was much better. So, but we didn't need it for these.
No,
games.
we didn't. No, we didn't try it. But you can if you got one of these, or you got planning to get one of these, if you can get hold of one. Obviously we'll go on to that at some point, but.
So the games
decent enough.
Let's move on to the games then. So obviously we've done School Days, which were that's not a next game. So
let's leave Night and let's go on to our least favourite. I think.
Well, least favourite because we didn't get to play it. So we have to start with this.
Start with this.
Let's start with this because we can't really review it because we couldn't get it to work. It just seemed. So basically, what this is, it seems to be multi-format, or if it isn't, they've supplied they've supplied it, and it's got the images, disc images on there for the Commodore, the Amstrad,
quite a few,
MSX and stuff like that. But obviously, even though it's got the ZX Spectrum Next on here, but the problem is it's in Z machine format, which is a format which seems to be resident to them. So it's some sort of image.
Yeah.
Now, it said the Spectrum Next had it built in, but we followed instructions, we just couldn't get it to work.
It's a weird one, really, because obviously with the others, you just plugged them in and they're booted.
Yeah.
This didn't boot. This actually required you to go into the OS first.
Yeah, the OS.
Swap it out.
And then swap the disc out.
And then what you do is you mount that SD card.
Yeah.
And then you should be able to run it. And it had something called Z Machine. We tried running the file and it wouldn't run. Comments below if you think that we're just bit dense basically.
So we can't really say that's the least favourite game because we could really play it. We just couldn't get it to work.
So whether or not there was something else missing or we just weren't doing something right on it, but kind of looking forward to it, So basically wouldn't boot.
Yeah. So maybe we failed or they failed, but we just could not get that to work at all. What did you think to the next version of the Way of Exploding Fist? Now, my comment on this, when I played it, I was just not interested in it at all. I mean, I was excited. My memory of this originally was, brilliant Way of Exploding Fist, but I don't know if my memory is rubbish and maybe the game is absolutely... I didn't like the game's not as good as I remember because your memory does play tricks on you and things do seem better than what they were for me. I wasn't impressed with it.
No. I think the problem is we've been spoilt with other fighting games now where you had different buttons for different moves.
Yeah.
And obviously there were only one fire button on the joystick. So I'm guessing we were kind of sort of a bit spoilt in that way. But this is the new version.
Yeah.
So, you'd expect some enhancements on there, knowing what people play now.
Music-wise?
Music-wise, it was decent, and its sound effects were good.
Sample-based.
So we had sample sound effects. Graphics were decent.
Yeah.
Nice little upgrade to them.
Just gameplay.
Do you know what? The playability just seemed laggy.
Yeah.
Now it could be just purely me. We tried it on the keys and we tried it on the gamepad, and it was just seemed laggy and non-responsive.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just us not quite working out how we used to play, but I don't remember it being that bad.
No.
So
I certainly wasn't impressed with it anyway. But we'll show you.
So for a new game, a game that we remember fondly, it's not the best.
I'd have probably preferred Fist 2.
Yeah.
And Fist 2's the one when it goes into caves and stuff, because obviously I remember the Spectrum version, and then I remember playing the Commodore 64 version with the soundtrack in it, and it was much better. It was really nice, and I think they could have done
I'm disappointed
with Fist, with doing Fist 2.
Might be one of those things where you just have a play around with it and stuff, but
it wasn't for me anyway.
No,
in the
definitely
end.
not.
But yeah, we'll show you a bit of that now.
And then
after that, so Night Night, you actually got a demo version of it with the Next, so it is on here. So if you go into the browser and into the games, it is actually there. Next and Night Night should be there.
Just there, yeah.
So there's a version of it on there. Now I think that's an early version or a demo. I'm not sure, but I went for the box version because I just wanted a physical game. And straight away when I put it on, it wasn't Bubble Bobble, but it had that feel to it.
Yeah, it's
because
like
it was it's a single screen platform game. But to me, I found it addictive.
Yeah, so like Bubble Bobble, you had different platforms having like different designs for every level, and you had to progress through that level to get to the next one. You didn't explore like Jet Set Willy.
No,
I really liked this.
Yeah,
and I wasn't too short at the beginning. I started watching you play it. I'm thinking, all right, let me have a go. And it's one of those games that as a kid you'd see your mate play it, and then you go, "I can have a go," and you go, "Oh, I really like this."
Yes.
You'd have to we took it in turns.
Yeah, so we shared each level. I completed level 1, you did level 2, and so forth.
Music, I'd say good.
Yeah.
Slightly short and repetitive.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. It's one of that bit of music that just kept playing over and over again.
That like this Bubble Bobble as well.
Yeah. So I liked that. Graphics were good.
Yeah.
Colourful, nice sprites and everything else. Yeah. Gameplay itself, I really enjoyed it. And actually, this is a game that I think you could, as a kid, you'd love it.
Yeah.
And as an adult, a few adults,
yeah,
I reckon you could have a few beers with that, and just each person has to you pass on the pad to the next person. For the
it would have been good. Now I'm not sure. I don't think there is, but it would have been good to do, somehow if they could do a follow-up, like a two-player, but with a two-player capabilities, like in Bubble Bobble.
Two-player, be good.
Now, you probably might not be able to do it on this because it's probably not meant for co-op, but somehow create levels for a two-player version. That would be really good. But I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
I love the again, the graphics. The Spectrum Next showed this off. The Night definitely showed off the graphics of the Spectrum Next.
If you've got a Spectrum Next, even
Yeah.
Nest,
we're
we're swimming, we're nesting,
and we're doing everything.
we're doing everything. But no, I really liked that one.
Yeah.
And if we'd have had a bit more time, I would have probably spent a good night just playing that one game.
Now there's a special edition of this that's out at the
grab it,
yeah.
get a copy of it, even if it's just. I assume you can get the digital version.
Yeah.
As well. So
yeah, I just paid for the physical because at the moment we've got more than this physical games.
Yeah. So I liked that. So Ghosts of Blackwood Manor. We can't get it working. Drop some information. We've actually emailed them just to find out whether there's something wrong. Where the Exploding Fist was just not good at all.
No.
It might be one of those games where we enjoyed it at the time and then now we.
But there's more better fighting games out, and to me,
maybe we've been spoiled.
Yeah.
Night, what a great game!
Yeah.
If you'd have bought as a kid, you'd been bought a new Spectrum and that, I could have probably spent 3-4 days just progressing through that game.
So that's good.
So that's good.
Yeah. So I'll actually show you that now. And so so overall, we brought this away with us. We're at, as you can see, we were down near Cambridge actually this week. So there's going to be another video.
Yeah, if you didn't realise, we're actually in a caravan at the moment.
Holiday home they are now. You can't call them caravans.
Holiday home,
supposedly.
Got one thing to say.
Journeys.
Journeys
down.
Well, actually, I've got two things to say.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to all the people who have commented and watched some of our shorts.
Yeah.
We've posted some shorts. We decided to have a go at some shorts, and I think it's gone quite well.
And that would just start our journey, wasn't it? So
just start journey down. One's gone quite well. So, you'll see our shorts. The other problem, there's three problems actually, or three things I want to say. We've done some shorts. Have a look at those. One's got quite a few reactions. Another one. This is our last night before we have to go back.
Yeah.
And what did we visit today?
We did a few things. We looked. So we were near Cambridge. So we looked around Cambridge today. So we thought, well, what was at Cambridge? So we tried to find the Acorn building.
We found an an arm complex.
Well, we've got an arm. So so we found the arm.
We'll put the picture up.
Yeah, so we found all we've got is a picture. We can't.
Yeah.
There were loads of buildings, and obviously it's
almost like
it's a campus.
It's a campus,
and it does call itself a campus.
Yeah.
But we couldn't go around taking loads of photos. But we couldn't find the original Acorn
building.
No.
So it's either been knocked down or renovated to a point where you can't recognise it.
So then the next thing is we found Sinclair's building.
We did, and you might find some occasional picture or maybe even something more.
Yeah, so
depending on what we've chosen.
Yeah, so we'll send a picture of that somewhere here.
And then
we went to the computing history for computing. I can't even say. In fact, I don't even know where we went.
We went to a museum for the history of computing.
Yeah. Which again is in that's almost in the centre of Cambridge.
Yeah,
that was good.
It's a little bit further out, but it's still in Cambridge. Well worth look. I mean, we'll go through it in more depth, but well worth looking at.
Yeah.
There is an episode coming up on that one, so please stay tuned for that.
It's only a short episode.
It's a short one, but we've got loads of footage in terms of what you can see and some pictures. And ultimately, we don't want to spoil it for people. Get yourself down there. It's about £12.
It's £12 per person, yeah.
But we'll talk about that another day. I've got one final thing to say.
Parking.
Well, there's parking.
No, go on.
We're getting a Spectrum in November.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that because we ordered it. It's one of them, let's pre-order and then forget about it.
But it's emulating Spectrum. The original.
Yeah.
This is the new version.
Yeah.
With all the extra fun stuff that you get, like these games.
Well, it'd be good to actually play School Days on them both because it comes with School Days.
But that's the thing. How can I play Night Night?
You can't.
On the Spectrum that I'm buying.
You can't.
And there's my problem. So.
Well, you'll have to get Bubble Bobble for the Spectrum.
Yeah. Or
did that only come out for the 128? I think there were a 48k version.
Yeah. Or there's another possibility that when they do another run of these bad boys,
you buy one.
I might have to get one.
Yeah. Well, you are at the Crash event.
We are, yeah.
In November, so again, I know
check out the shorts for the next road trip.
The next guys are there, so if you're very good at pleading, begging, stealing, borrowing.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, I think that might be on my shopping list.
Yeah.
I'm convinced now with some of the new games coming out and what you can do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just nostalgia, is it?
It's not nostalgia.
And I think that's the thing with it. It was a weird feeling because, like you say, it's new and you expect it to be, oh, wow, hang on, the graphics are... But once you get your head around it's not a PlayStation or it's not a PC and you're not... it's not a Spectrum for 2024. It's a Spectrum for 1990.
Yeah.
So it's the reimagination of what the next Spectrum would have been, not a ZX Spectrum for 2024, because it is an 8-bit machine.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of new appreciation. There's 10,000 of these out there now.
I think
there'll be more games.
I'm looking forward to the show, going to the show in November, and finding out. I'm sure, hopefully, people behind this will be there again and give us some more information on when the next run will be, because I might get my sticky fingers on one of these.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely would.
And with that, slightly shorter episode than normal.
Yeah, but yeah.
This is our first road trip that we spoke about.
There's many more.
There's many more to come, and we've had a few shorts out for that as well, so check them out as well. Please like, subscribe, and all that good business. With that,
bye.
That's goodbye from me.